Mi gente, ¿se han preguntado cómo es trabajar en Japón como desarrolladores de software? El día de hoy lo averiguaremos de la mano de japoneses y extranjeros que llevan tiempo ya trabajando en Japón en la industria de TI. Así que si quieren escuchar la verdad, sin mentiras, sin adornos, sin idealización ni romantización ni nada por el estilo, acompáñenme en esta serie de entrevistas. Dado que estas personas no hablan español, voy a tener que entrevistarlos en inglés. Así que si no saben inglés, no olviden activar los subtítulos en la interfaz de YouTube. Do you mind sharing your name, what do you do, and your age, please, to our audience?
Okay, my name is Taku, born and raised in Japan, and nowadays I'm engaged in back-end engineering in a software engineering company. And yeah, my age, 25 this year.
I am Naman. I came from India and I came to Japan in 2022, November. It's been around 1.5 years in Japan and I am software engineer and my age is 23.
Now, there's something that our audience wonders a lot about Japan because they hear about these stories. They say that in Japan, companies, they don't care about what you do. They only care other kind of skills. So they hire almost anyone for just hiring them, and later on they train them on the work. How's been your experience about that?
Yeah, I feel that too. I guess in a traditional Japanese company, they hire people without any background knowledge or something, and then they kind of raise them from scratch, and then they, make them to be at the stage where they can be really good at, engineering or something.
They also say, this is what they say on the internet, they say that most Japanese companies, they somehow make you work a lot. They push you into working a lot. So I got two questions for you. Would you say that, number one, that is true? And number two, is that also true for software development in Japan?
I'd say it's not true these days. Back in the days, Japanese traditional companies require people to work overtime like hell. But nowadays, it's getting chill. And also, considering software engineering industry is pretty new, other than any industries here in Japan. So now we have more like a casual, globalized style so that people can accept and welcome lots of people from overseas. Yeah.
Right now I have a mixed experience in Japan. Because some of the Japanese people too are open-minded now. So they don't prefer overtime or anything. And companies also don't want their employees to overtime now. But still some people have that belief that if we overtime it will be better for us, so they still do it. But I think the forcing thing by companies is not anymore. Yeah.
They also say that Japan is a high technology country. Technology is ingrained in all parts of society. What are your thoughts on that?
Can I be really honest?
Please.
From objective point of view, it's old perspective. 1980s, we are, I'd say, at the top of the world. But nowadays, China, US, and other India or some countries, developing really fast, rapidly. So we are, I'd say, behind a bit. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right. So not the king anymore. That's his words, not mine. Would you say that software development in Japan is it's an interesting career? Is it prestigious? Is it in demand? Is it important in Japan? Does Japan prioritize software development?
Yeah. I'd say working as a software engineer or some engineering job in Japan is prestigious. Yeah. And it's well compensated. Looking at other jobs, and also, I'd say when I talk to Japanese friends, and then I'd say I work in software engineering, they'll be oh, you are then smart or something, kind of stereotype. But and then also we are well compensated. So yeah, I'd say it's great working here.
It's a good experience because you may find some very nice leaders and you will learn a lot of things from some senior people who are Japanese. Like I especially like the property of patience. They're very patient and the decision making is very rational. So you won't find any problem with that.
So you say you feel well compensated.
Yeah, I guess so. But I always hear, over here, those companies pay that much or something, and so I'd say there are more better companies in terms of money or compensations. But yeah,
I think compensation is good. Like I won't say it's like it's hard to survive, but it's always like there are better options, more opportunities. So like I can't say no to that. But like for software engineers, I won't say money is the problem. But like it depends on the company, like what growth opportunities you have, and also on the team.
Can you give us, like, the audience any insights? Like, where does Japan stand compared to any other place of the world?
I think, compared to like US, like the top, like most paid country in the world, I'd say in the middle. And I'd say China and I don't know, European countries pay better on average, I guess. But some Japanese company also pay really good amount of money. So, but yeah, to be fair, Japan is in the middle.
Do you need to know Japanese to work in Japan? What are your thoughts? I mean, I know you're Japanese. Of course, you know Japanese. But like, from your experience, what can you share to the audience?
I'd say you need to speak Japanese. If you live, you live here for more than 1 year. Yeah, because our customers are Japanese, and then they speak mostly in Japanese. So that's what we need. But inside our companies which are globalized, we don't have to speak that much of Japanese. So outside external communication, Japanese, but internal communications, I'd say English are one of the options here. Yeah.
I learned Japanese for 6 months, and then I came to Japan, but it was not enough. But you get used to it after living for some time, so it's okay now.
What JLPT level would you say you were at that time before coming to Japan?
I completed my studies for N5 and I studied half of N4, but I didn't pass the exam for N5 because I didn't appear for it, because I thought it's do I need to give it or not? I should just study and apply. But if you want a longer career in Japan, I think it's better to get the exam.
What are the most common technologies that you work with on your current employment? And what do you think are the most common technologies that are used here in Japan, so that people in the audience can get to know what they should learn in order to come here to Japan?
Okay. Can I say about software engineering?
Yeah.
Okay, technologies.
Let's say Golang, Kotlin.
Okay. Programming language wise, Java is most famous and I'd say prestigious language, and also Golang is also used commonly.
How have you feel about being integrated into society? Do you feel like there's a lot of friction? Do you feel like you're not well received in some degree?
I'm not gonna speak for everyone here, okay? It depends on person to person. But for me, it's been nice. Japanese people are very welcoming, and not just the work, but I also have some hobbies, and I also perform those hobbies with Japanese people, and they are kind of supporting, and they I never felt left out. They always even if I can't completely understand what they're saying, or like they don't understand what I'm speaking, but they generally cooperate.
Right.
Yeah, they understand. It's okay.
I see. So would you say it's not as difficult making friends in Japan? Because when you look at the internet, a lot of people say that as a foreigner, you mostly end up with foreigner friends. Like, what percentage of your friends would you say are foreigners, and what percentage would you say are Japanese?
I think I would say 50-50 because maybe because of my hobbies, and I won't compare Japan with other countries, Western countries, because like it is, the process of making friends is kind of different in Japan. People won't talk to you that easily, but once they talk, like then it's easy to become friends. But like you need to know a little bit Japanese. Like even if you don't know any Japanese, that like even it's hard for them to tell you anything, right? So if you know a little bit Japanese, I think you can make good friends. It's okay.
Do you plan to stay longer here in Japan working as a software developer? Do you see yourself going back to India, maybe moving to another country?
Coming to my future plans, probably I won't stay very long because I want to study more in future about a particular subject, specialization. So, but I won't discourage anyone. Like there is no problem with Japan.
Yeah. In the future, hopefully, I'm interested in working in another country as well. Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, what do you find interesting about working outside of Japan?
I don't know, but one thing for sure is I'm just curious about work culture outside Japan. Even though I say that it's becoming open and open-minded more and more. And yeah, I am interested in work culture and also other cities. I know Tokyo, Osaka, but they look pretty much similar. So yeah, I'm interested. Like culture, work, yeah, culture-wise, yeah.